I'm Rob Perry. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Albuquerque. Mayor Barry's out today. He'll be back in a little bit later. But today's Friday's Hero session is truly, truly a great story, and it's also a story whereby the victim in this case, the patient, Christina, is with us to celebrate as well. And today we're honoring basically the Albuquerque Fire Department and the Albuquerque Police Department Open Space Division, two departments that are amongst the finest in the country. And I think after you hear this story, you'll understand why. It's a story basically of a citizen that was in distress, Christina Sharp, and she was in immediate danger of her life out in the Sandia foothills. Here in the city of Albuquerque, 560,000 people. It's an urban area, but we also have some of the largest backcountry open space of any place in the United States. I live down in the bosky part of the open space, and you know, when I go out running in there in the morning, man, you hear like animals and you see things like snakes and coyotes and foxes, and I think the mountains are no different. That you kind of, there's a lot of peril there. You just kind of take for granted. You go about your recreation, hiking, running, walking, you know, whatever you're doing, and all of a sudden you're in a bad situation. And this truly was a bad situation, because Christina was up in the Sandia foothills, and she had been bitten by a snake deep in the foothills, and the situation was very serious. Working together, our firefighters, open space police officers were able to assist Christina. Their teamwork that day was a testament to the men and women in public safety and how they regularly work together to bring about great outcomes and results for our citizens. Last December, the open space officers and Albuquerque Fire Department were dispatched to the foothills where Christina Sharp, a female hiker, found herself in danger after a serious snake bite. The women described her surroundings the best she could to dispatch. The officers were all dispatched and firefighters. They met at Elena Gallegos open space near Tramway and Academy, and they tried to pinpoint and zero in on a location. They determined that Christina was approximately 3 miles up in the Dominga Baca Canyon, and from there they determined how to get Christina back to safety and medical treatment. Both teams went up into the mountains and the trails. They braved rugged terrain, and they found Christina. Then they carried her back down 3 miles to the trailhead to an awaiting open space vehicle, and she received medical attention. She ultimately completely recovered from this. But just as these firefighters and officers were dealing with Christina in the emergency vehicle, the open space officers received an additional call, and then they were dispatched to Jemez Mountains and spent the next 7 days camping out of their vehicles in a search and rescue effort for U.S. Forest Service regarding firefighter Token Adams. So these guys just go and go and go, and when life and safety is at risk, they put everything aside, including their own safety, to do it. Today we're going to celebrate, and I want to name the specific firefighters. I'll start with the firefighters that are with us. We have firefighter Jacob Govenlinger, firefighter Ryan Medford, firefighter Zephyr Valverde, firefighter Edward Martinez, Carlos Romero, Kelly Garvin. And these guys really did a great job for you, and I'm sure you'd attest to the fabulous work that they did.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And
then on APD Open Space, Sergeant Jeremy Bassett, Chad Melvin, Matthew Schmidt, De Jesus Benuelos, and great work by you guys. I'm going to turn it over to Chief Breen and then to Chief Banks to just say a few more words, but I'd like to everybody give these guys a round of applause, and women. Yep. Chief.
Thank you, sir. Of course, our media partners, thank you for being here today. The Albuquerque Fire Department is an all-risk, all-hazard department, and we spend a lot of training in special operations, and one of those disciplines is wilderness rescue, and these crews are really experts in that particular field. This was a rescue that required a lot of teamwork and interagency cooperation, not only between APD and AFD, but also state search and rescue teams as well. And this is an example of some of the high-quality quality services that we provide. And we do this because we're able to do this because we have dedicated firefighters and police officers, and which really made a difference in Christina's life and her quality of life, because she's 100% today because of their actions. And so it's our great pleasure to recognize these crews for what they've done. And I'd like to offer the police officers, if you guys ever want to cross over to fire and be rescuers, you certainly can. We'd love to have you. But great job by all. Chief Banks?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Chief. In fact, you know, and they are rescuers. I think it's a true testament of the cooperation between both agencies to save a life, and that's what it's about. Public safety in general is taking care of our community and taking care of our public, and Christina's here today as a true testament of that. You know, it's hard enough to walk 3 miles on a flat, normal surface, but for both agencies to walk uphill 3 miles in order to rescue a person and don't give up, and they're resolved to make sure that we saved a life and to bring her back down so that her family can enjoy her for a very, very long time. That's why we're here today. We're here to honor the men and women who think more of themselves, more about others than themselves. And that's why we honor them. So I thank both AFD, I thank Open Space Department from the Albuquerque Police Department for putting in the hundreds and hundreds of hours of training to make sure that we can stand up here and recognize and say we're glad you're here with us. And I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
You bet. And we have some, let's give them a hand again. We have some coins. Yep. Chief, why don't we start with your firefighters? Which are the
coins over there.
Yep.
Bad coins, yeah.
I like them both, but you're right. The Chief, why don't you come on over here and we'll just hand them out, you bet. And I'll give these to the Chief to hand out, you bet. And Christina, you know, can you maybe say a couple words for us? Well, since you were the kind of center of attention of this story? Yeah, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'd love to hear from you.
Well, I just want to say I'm so grateful and thankful to the hard work. Honestly, I really couldn't comprehend that somebody would be able to come up on a stretcher and bring me out of that terrain on a stretcher, because it was really treacherous. I mean, it was very steep and very slim. And I'm just so amazed by it. I was telling a couple of the firefighters that a couple months earlier, one of my hiking buddies was telling me about that stretcher with the one wheel and this new program of getting people out of the mountains. And I said to him, one day I want to see that cool stretcher. Well, now, wish it was under different circumstances, but I'm just really grateful to everybody, and I'm so glad that they got me out and I'm fully recovered, and I'm just want to say thanks.
We're glad you're fully recovered too. Great job.
Thanks.
Great job. Well, now we recognize the Employee of the Week, and today's Employee of the Week is Laura Metzler from Cultural Services. Laura is a children's librarian with the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Library System. Laura's worked for the ABC Library for about 13.5 years, and she's inspired patrons and staff with some tremendously creative youth programs. She's worked at both the Erna Ferguson branch at San Mateo and Comanche and the Tony Hillerman branch at Wyoming and Manal. Laura is known by patrons for producing exceptional children's literacy programs, and for many years, Laura has been an important member of the Summer Reading Program Committee and was integral in the system-wide creation with implementation of two-month-long summer program that we do each year. She continues to provide exceptionally creative summer programs for children and teens, and we're lucky to have her. Some of her other efforts include music and movement story times, origami adventures, and Art Around the World. Art Around the World allows children, approximately ages 6 to 14, to explore new styles of art from different parts of the world in every session. And we received a letter from a homeschooling family addressed to the ABC Library, and I think it was Dean. It says, Laura has been a delight to work with, and her professional, customer-focused approach makes her a real asset to the library. Her tireless energy, patience, and support for our children has had a significant impact on their experience learning and truly have helped them grow. Laura's devotion to the community goes well beyond her efforts developing learning programs. Last month, in addition, a library patron fell, and she was immediately at the person's side and found the patron unresponsive, and immediately again called 911. And the best fire department again in the country responded and helped that person out as well. So while paramedics were on the way, she stayed with the woman and comforted her along. The woman was eventually able to sit up and recovered as paramedics arrived. But it's for these types of events and work that Laura was selected as the City of Albuquerque's Employee of the Week. And we appreciate your daily efforts, your labor of love, your commitment to the community, to literacy, and to education of our youth. That's probably one of the most important jobs, along with these fine Friday's heroes. You're a Friday hero, too. Betty, Dean, would you like to say anything else? You bet.
Thank you, Rob. Good morning. I just want to thank Laura. I don't know if you all know this, but Laura's from Albuquerque. She was born here. She went to school in Denver and also went to school in Illinois. So that's where she got her master's degree. If you want to become a librarian, you got to spend a lot of time in school. So she also worked in Indianapolis and is just a really great example of the fine people who work in our libraries, and a really great public servant. What I wanted to also say is that I think Laura opens herself up to situations that are meaningful. I think she was there for a reason for that lady, and she couldn't have survived probably as well unless you had been there, Laura, to comfort her and to be with her. But that's the kind of importance that we place on relationships in our city, and Laura is a great example of that, so we thank you so much.
Well, I just want to say that, Laura represents the best of what public libraries are today. If you haven't been in a public library in a few decades, you might think of us as quiet people that read books and warehouse books. But we haven't been like that in a long time, and our good staff wears so many other hats, and Laura wears many of them. This is just a quick list I thought of this morning. Teacher, social worker, truancy officer, nurse, social activities coordinator, performer, artist, mediator, technology guru, information specialist, reader's advisor, early literacy specialist, and job search assistant. And that's just a short list. It could go on and on. And Laura represents the best of all that, and in this case she was wearing several hats, including nurse, social worker, and mediator, as she also worked with other customers that wanted to help, but maybe in ways that wouldn't have been the best thing to do. And I am just so proud to honor Laura for all of the things that she does, but it was her incredible human spirit and empathy in this case that really just shines. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great job. And with us also is Cindy Burns, who's our Associate Director of Library Services. Thanks, you got a great one here, obviously, you know that. Just a small token of our appreciation. We have an Employee of the Week certificate from the mayor that expresses appreciation for the great work you've done. There's a letter that'll go in your personnel file and just a small token of appreciation. Again, thanks so much.
Thank you.
You bet.